Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty bizarre and honestly a little unsettling. It's a series of monologues from classic monsters. But here's the twist. They're not here to talk about themselves. They're here to talk about us.
So the whole thing kicks off with this question from a demon. And I mean, right out of the gate, it just completely flips the script. You're thinking, okay, here comes the classic tale of evil, right? But no. Instead, what you get is an accusation, a direct challenge to everything you thought you knew about monsters.
Okay, so first things first, let's meet the lineup. And on the surface, yeah, it's exactly who you'd expect. A real gallery of horrors, the stuff of nightmares. First up, we've got a vampire, and he's leaning right into this stereotype. He even admits he was invented, basically a projection of our own fears. And then he does exactly what you'd expect a vampire to do. He brags about draining the life out of everything that moves.
Then, bam, the werewolf shows up, calls itself Nightmares Made Flesh, a symbol of pure, unadulterated rage. And again, you're nodding along, thinking, yep, this is exactly the kind of monstrous confession I signed up for.
And then we even get a prehistoric dino. And this one is just brutally honest about what it is. It says it's mired in violence, that its fangs are literally made to dig deep. There's this raw honesty to it, right? It's just pure primal instinct. No excuses, no apologies. So the stage is set perfectly, isn't it? We've got our lineup of classic monsters, and you can't help but lean in a little closer, right? You're just waiting for the gruesome details, the tales of horror. What could these things possibly have to confess? But this is where everything changes. The whole narrative just takes this incredibly sharp, unexpected turn. Because this isn't a confession at all. It's a testimony. And remember what the dino said? This is where it all starts to click. It draws this really clear line in the sand. Its violence, it says, was straightforward. Mano a mano, against someone its own size. But human evil? Oh, that's different. That's calculated. It's about ganging up, forming these collectives with the single goal of destroying one person. It's a totally different ballgame, and frankly, way more sinister. And this quote from the demon just brings the whole thing into crystal clear focus. It's like, how could you possibly think we're the source of all evil when you guys, humans, are the singularity of it? See? The monsters aren't on trial here, not at all. They're the star witnesses for the prosecution. And that right there, that is the great big twist at the heart of this whole thing, the great inversion. All this time, we've been looking in the completely wrong direction. The real horror isn't what these monsters do. It's what they see when they look at us. So let's get into the evidence they present, because this thing really starts to build. It's not just one monster's opinion anymore. It becomes this powerful, really damning chorus of accusation. So what do the monsters point to as humanity's greatest weapon? Something they see as uniquely, terribly human, our society. They call it sociology. And to them, this isn't some harmless, organized way of living. No, they see it as a poison, a venom that's hiding in plain sight. Then another monster, this big brute with a club, chimes in. He calls it an invisible agreement, something nefarious, insidious, like a criminal conspiracy, but worse. So you see, we're not talking about just one person doing a bad thing anymore. We're talking about the poison that's baked right into the way we structure our world.
So what's driving this societal venom? Well, according to one of them, the answer is shockingly simple. Raw psychopathy. That's it. It's the fundamental of it all. Everything else is just an excuse. And then it hits you with that line. You think I look monstrous? Oh no. Look at your own species. Chilling.
And the list just keeps going. The charges pile up. You've got a whole chorus now. The demon, an ape, a scavenger, and they're all listing these uniquely human cruelties. Things like annihilating the defenseless, destroying our own children, and worst of all, reveling in the group's approval for it. It's not just about being brutal, it's that we turn it into a system. We institutionalize it, and then we just look away from the suffering it causes. The scavenger really drives this home, It basically looks at its own terrifying fangs, its own primal, vicious nature, and says, this is nothing. Nothing compared to the insanity of anthropoid sociological venom. It's our systems, our collectives. That's the real horror. And all of this builds to the final act.
This is where the monsters deliver their absolutely devastating conclusion. They're not just witnesses anymore. Now they're holding up a mirror, and they're forcing us to look.
So after all is said and done, after all the testimony, the entire argument gets boiled down to this one terrifying idea. Our capacity for this organized systemic cruelty, this sociological venom, it isn't just a bug in the system. To the monsters, it is the system. It is the very fundament of it all.
And then comes the final gut punch of a reveal. We learn their true purpose. They aren't the source of evil. They were never the villains of this story. As one of them says so simply, I am but a mirror. They only exist to reflect the darkness they see in humanity. And so, this really strange text leaves us with this deeply unsettling final thought. If our own societies are the ultimate weapons of cruelty, and if the monsters we dream up are just reflections of ourselves, then the final question is for you. When you look in the mirror, who or what is looking back?